Okay, so I welcome you all on this FDP 3D printing and design Atal FDP. On a fourth day, we have a very young and dynamic entrepreneur from Kanika 3D Lab. Kunal Agrawal, proprietor at Kanika 3D Design Lab. He holds a science degree in EC and is a robotics enthusiast. He's a tech geek and loves to read and learn about new advancement in technology. He also tries to bring those advancements into daily practice in order to cope up with advanced world. While working with a company in Indore, he used to discuss the problems that industry are facing with his father, Mr. Anil Kumar Agrawal. Then his father came to know about 3D printers. With the 3D printers, it's easy for the industries to make their prototype before they go for a manufacturing, as he has faced many challenges about ideas jobs that were not readily available in the market but can be easily printed and used with the help of 3D printers. So he along with his father started a company in order to make easy for other companies and spread the awareness about the new technologies. And Kunal also serves their service for the hospitals and helping the doctors for pre-planned surgery with their prototype printed models. And he is helping so much industries also for their services. So I invite Mr. Kunal to give or share his experience regarding 3D printing and design. Over to you, Kunal.
Good morning, everyone. So now you might have, like in this past 3 day session, you already came to know about 3D printing, like what all the other technologies in 3D printing, say, for example, FDM, SLA, SLS. So you already have come across all these technologies. So today we'll start with this thing, like the different applications of this 3D printing and different technologies, like how these technologies are used in the industries, in different types of industries. So I'll just share one image with you. Is this thing visible to all of you?
No, no, please share your screen, Kunal, by
Sir,
present now.
I've already done it.
Uh,
Just a second, sir. Yeah, now I guess that would be visible. Is this visible now?
No.
yes, 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 yes.
Yes, now.
Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of 3D printing and different technologies. Like there are many thousands of fields where we can actually use this 3D printing, but as of now, the main applications where this 3D printing can be used is first the aerospace and defense. So what happens basically in aerospace and defense? Now, when we say the manufacturing of a aircraft or some defense, the parts for the defense, or maybe missile or some other parts. So now basically you have to be very specific in these. Like you can't go for mass manufacturing because we don't like aeroplanes and some in aerospace and defense. There are basically parts which are meant to be specifically for that specific operations only. So the reason being there are low volume productions. So when these kind of things comes, definitely 3D printing is an ideal thing, because in 3D printing we don't have to invest any in tooling or something like that. In other kind of like if we go for manufacturing things in conventionally, so we don't have to like basically invest in those kind of toolings specifically with the help of 3D printing. So like I'll just share an example. So you can just see this one. If you're able to see the image, this is basically a injector head of a launcher. So earlier when these injector head was made conventionally, so it required around 248 components. So with the help of 3D printing, it was reduced it to one part only. So the advantage of 3D printing comes down in aerospace and defense is basically, you can say it, you can combine many parts into one, and that will reduce ultimately your maintenance cost as well, and that will reduce your testing as well, because you have to test only one part instead of 248 different components manufactured conventionally. So this is the one thing. Then definitely in aerospace and defense, we have gone through the weight reduction as well, because in as we decrease the weight, the fuel efficiency and the payload factor and the emission of the gases is also reduced. So its weight reduction is also an important factors in aerospace and defense. So in this as well, 3D printing comes in, because 3D printing helps you out in weight reductions as well. So then there are many other things like material efficiency. You have different range of materials available with 3D printing. Now we are able to print in metal as well, and many other engineering and thermoplastic grades materials, which are very you can say highly used, and like you can use it with high temperature environment, say around 300 350 degrees centigrade. So now there are also basically maintenance and repair, I've already told, and part consolidation. So let's come down to medical first, so that I can. So if I'll just switch on my camera again. So are you able to this see this model?
No,
Hello.
sir.
Camera. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Can you able to see this model? So
Yes,
this
yes.
is basically a spine model of a 6 months old baby. If you can see it, these babies were basically, the spinal cord was joint at the time from the birth only. This is a 6 months old baby bone model which we created out. So let's discuss about how these things works. Basically, what doctor faced, like earlier when 3D printing was not there. So doctor has to do the operation by just seeing the CT scan, which is on the normal plastic sheet. So they have to get an idea, like, yeah, they kind of a bone like is there, and how much is the joint, where is the joint exactly. So conventionally these kind of surgeries were very typical, and that was very time consuming as well. Now with the help of 3D printing, what happens, we get those CT scan data with us, the digital data, not the data which is given to you, given to anyone who goes to do a CT scan in the plastic form. We just get the digital data which is stored in their system, and we actually segment those things and we create these kind of models. So like, if you can see it, so specifically these spinal cords were joined from the birth. So these two babies were joined from the birth itself. So now when doctor just gives it, like they want to operate it. So how this will be operation would be done. So that's very tedious, because operating a 6 months old baby, it's very dangerous as well. So now what happens? Doctors does, they get these kind of models, and after that they actually see it, how exactly the structure of the bones, where exactly the joint and where exactly the problem is. So that actually reduces the surgery time, and that basically gives an you can say it a surgical planning before surgery. So this is the advancement of technology, and you can say it, the doctors are benefited with this technology at a very good pace, because doctors are using it quite uh, in many of the cases. So these are one of the models which we have created out. You can see these models basically. So now in medical, the other things which comes down, like you can say it, what's the issue with the patient exactly? So doctor has to convince the patient like, no, you have to go for these kind of implants. So like it's very challenging to convince a doctor, convince a patient for a doctor that you have to go for these kind of implants and you have to go for this long surgery. So it's very typical to explain it. So with these models, definitely doctors can explain and give the details to the patient as well. So now I'm talking about this specific patient. This patient was facing from some disease. So basically, he don't have these part. As you can see, it's a gap over here. So with this gap, what basically doctor will do, he'll make a implant over here. He'll get it titanium, he'll get it printed in titanium and he'll fix it. So the advantage this implant made in titanium is, what can be done, the structure as well as the surface. So the surface of the bone can be made in that 3D printed implant. It won't be possible in conventionally to get the contour. So the implant, which is a 3D printed customized implant, you can say, it can be fixed very easily over here. So you can actually change it again and again with this, because we like making a before making a final implant in titanium, we definitely go for prototyping of the implant first. You can see the skull model basically. So this is for a basically a patient in Delhi. So he is facing some problem with the maxillofacial area. So do you have any question for the medical part? Like if anyone have something, let's have these session uh, more informative, not exactly towards on like just detailing about it. So if I have any question about medical, you can definitely come up with this. What exactly you might be seeing out, like after seeing those models, if any questions comes in your mind, so please come up with the questions. Anyone?
I request all the participants that meanwhile you can also ask in chat box.
Yeah, exactly. You can share definitely questions in the chat box as well. So now let's come down in medical. I'll just show you some. If you can see this screen, so this is a 3D printed customized implant. If you can see, so this is the implant which was made in titanium, and this is the CT scan of the patient's body where this implant was fitted. So basically, this woman was suffering from a tuberculosis, which basically it uh, coincidentally happened in her spine. So in around 10 to 12 different vertebrae. So now her condition was condition was getting worse day by day, and specifically this you can say this tuberculosis disease have damages three vertebrae. You can see it over here, first, second, and third vertebrae. So now she tried out in every hospitals in India, but no one was ready for the implant because the case was so typical. Every doctor has claimed, like you won't. The timeline was given for around 2 to 3 months. Like she won't be able to uh, survive for more than not more than 3 months. So exactly what happened? The doctors from Medanta, Gurgaon, they took something very a challenge to basically implant a 3D printed vertebrae. So this was the implant which was fitted in a body. If you can see this one, a CT scan as well. The it's been shown in the bottom. The CT scan, like how this implant has been fitted. So it was around, you can say it, uh, a long surgery which took around 14 to 15 hours of a continuous surgery over here with this one, the spine surgery. And it's been almost more than 3 years. This patient is surviving very well, and now she has started gymming as well. So she's recovering very fast now. Let's come down to any questions in the medical one. You can.
Yeah, in chat box there is two questions.
Okay, I'll just check. Uh, okay. So basically, what happens in the materials, in the material point of view, in medical specifically, we use normal ABS for these kind of model, which are just the mock models. You can say it. These are not implanted in the body, and these are just for understanding for the doctors and to make understand for the patient, like what exactly the issue, what exactly the disease, and what exactly the problem with the bone is. So these models are basically you like no one has to worry about the material, like what kind of material for these models are you making for these models are used. Yes, exactly. For implants, we definitely use a titanium. Before making it for going for the titanium, we actually use nylon 2200 material, basically polyamide TPA PA 2200. That's polyamide 2200 material. So this is basically you can say it a medically approved, but yet it cannot be implanted in the body. But yes, with this one, doctors actually used to basically uh, place it inside the body and just check it. So that is basically a medically approved material, but it cannot be implanted. So these are the two material, like irrespective of material, these models can be made in any a normal ABS, PLA, or some other technologies. You can say it SLA, SLS, or any technologies depending upon the details. But for the implanting inside the body, titanium or PEEK is the two material which are used. And the process, you can say it, for medical, for these mock model, we use FDM, these kind of models which we made it. And you can say it, for those implants, DMLS or EBM is used, direct metal laser sintering. It's basically the advanced version of SLS technology you might have came across. So this is basically a powder fusion. So these are the parts for some SLS technology. as you can see the flexibility and this thing. So these are the parts. This technology is used for some you can say high detailed models. For that we use SLS. So powder based SLS. So we use that one for making some mock models which specifically needs high details. Ceramic 3. So ceramic 3D images. Can you explain it more? Like
Hello, good
like
morning, sir.
what exact? Yeah, good morning. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I just want to know, is it possible with your company to prepare ceramic 3D images like alumina, PZT kind of things? So basically, you are working on medical, no? Medical
Uh,
things, no?
right, right.
So is it possible to prepare with any technique, with PZT or alumina kind of
No,
ceramic
but
materials?
ceramic materials are there, but exactly as of now, what happened in the ceramic one, basically people are printing ceramics, but it's not medical grade.
It is not
So
medical.
still, okay, it's not for the medical, but yes, ceramic can be done.
Okay,
As of
okay, sir.
now, I don't think in India it's available, but yeah, research is going on over ceramics. There are printers who you can able to print the ceramics as well, maybe in near future, you can say. Although printers are there, companies have launched their printers for ceramic printing, but still it's in under research. So maybe sooner in a year or so, you can get those ceramic printers as well.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank you,
that
sir.
would be used for making those you can say it's some your vase and all other kind of things which can be like for ceramic parts which we use it in decorative house, and also that can be made as of now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay. Okay, so basically implant and prosthetic, these are the two different things. Now exactly if a patient doesn't have any body part, you can say it from the birth, or some with some injuries or some with the defects, so that basically it's outside the body, it's prosthetic, and inside the body is the implant. So if say for example a patient doesn't have this hand of his basically either fingers or this complete hand, so when we make a hand and place it over here to use it, so this basically a prosthetic. And when we use those things implanted inside the body, it's called an implant. Facing you three. So is this related to medical implant or a normal 3D scanning one? I guess the question which comes down here is okay. So for medical, what we do is first we get the CT scan data of that digital data of that patient. Then we actually process it in our software, which we use it from Materialize or some other softwares. Then what we do, we get the models, like the bone models, the muscle models over in that, and we can easily actually segregate it. So we get the bone model out of it. Then after bone model, we actually get the area of interest, because when we go for the CT scan, we have lot of other data as well, which comes down in digital data in the CT scan. So what exactly we do, we basically get those digital from that digital data, we get the bone model, and after getting the bone model, we actually get the area of interest. So basically when we have scanned this one, so the complete skull of this patient was scanned, so we only get the concerned area, like which area was actually needed for doctors. We get only those data. Then we actually process it further, to reduce the noise, different types of the other data which comes down with the bone segmentation. So we reduce it, then we actually process it with the implant, like we discussed with the doctor, like how exactly the implant should be placed. So if you can consider this one, so basically the patient doesn't have this area specifically, it was damaged. So this skull was this was broken in the accident, so we cannot just push it over here and place it some join it over here. It cannot be done like that. So what doctors will do, basically they'll plan it implant which basically have the contour of this contour, and they'll have the implant which is fixed over here, so they can get the detailed implant for this one, basically. So this is the basic process which is used. And then after making the implant, that implant is first tested on this mock model, then only the operation then only doctor starts the surgery, and then only surgery is planned. Yes, that implant is fine and it can be fitted, because the models which we create, it's you can get an idea, you can say it is as accurate as your bone model. The difference between actual bone and this bone, the area of interest I'm talking about, you can say it would be around the accuracy which we get is around 100 to 200 microns for these bone models which we create. Yes, exactly. 3D printing will help many surgeons, specifically not only cosmetic but different surgeries as well. You can say it, the surgeries, maxillofacial surgeries, or some, even you can say it, heart surgeries as well. I'll just show you one more thing. So this is a small heart model. Okay, this was made in around 4 or 5 different parts. So I just have left with this part only, so I'm just showing you. So this is a heart model which was made. This was made in SLA technology, the liquid one, for higher detail. So doctors actually get to know like where exactly the blockage, where exactly the issue with the heart is. So it's not only about the cosmetic surgery, but yes, in all the medical field, in all the surgeries, this 3D printing would plays a very important role. In near future, you can say it. As of now, not many doctors are using it. Only the cases which require it is used, but maybe in near future it would be a impact. You can say it like every alternate surgery you'll have a mock model with that. So I'll just come along with you. This is a case. Actually, we don't have those the below part of this. This is basically a bomb blast case, not the bomb blast, this is a gunshot case. So basically this patient had a bullet over here, so it damaged all his bones, the upper part. So what we did, we actually made an implant, and I'll just show you that implant as well. Just a second. Can you see this one? So this is the implant which was made for this specific case, which I showed you. Like as you can see, this was customized with this one. Like you can say it was this specific bone which joins your this eye bone. This was also broken, so we designed the implants accordingly. Like this was fixed, like it was fixed like this. So basically, the problems which we faced for designing such mock model, it's not that you can say we don't faced any kind of problem, but yes, definitely it's a challenge. Like because when we get the CT scan data, every part, every muscle, every nerves of the body is inside it. So basically, we get all those data. So figuring out the proper bone model, extracting it from there, it's basically a challenge. So for that, we actually need experienced doctors or experienced people who knows the anatomy of the body very thoroughly. So equipment, we don't use much kind of equipment. Basically, we normally use the normal forceps or some cutters to remove the support structure out of it. That's it. We don't need any kind of other equipments for designing or designing. We use a materialized software, which is basically world renowned software. That's the only software as of now available in the market. So we use those for bone segmentation, and the other equipments which we used for processing it, it's basically the clippers or some kind of cutters to remove the support structure. That's it. We don't need any specific or some specialized equipment for this. So, like, I just would like to know, like, what means which kind of what kind of elaboration basically wanted, like, which with material and something. Can you please elaborate your question? Like, then I would like to answer it. Okay, for this specific case. So what we does, the process was simple. We get the CT scan data, then we made like the process was similar, which I told you. Like we get the CT scan data, segmentation of the bone, we extracted the skull, we printed the part, then we actually used the softwares to design the implant. The This implant was made in ABS, not the implant. The mock model was made in ABS. The implant was first made in FDM, and then it was made in SLS to just check it, and then it was made in titanium. So the implants which we made, which has to be inserted in the body, it's definitely it has to be made with either titanium or PEEK. So as of now, PEEK printing, it's not it's available in India, but it's not medically approved facility. So that's why the doctors doesn't use it, those peak implants. So we are actually working on that to basically. For research purpose, I would say you can basically work on implant designing as well as designing is the most critical part of the implant actually. So research purpose for those kind of things can be definitely a good idea, like how mesh you can create it. With this 3D printing, basically it's very easy to create any kind of structure, any with any complexity. So exactly, it's like how lightweight implant you can make it. No, 3D printer and 4D printers are totally different. This is totally a different technology of 4D 3D printing. So in specifically 4D 3D printing, it's under a research. Even I won't be able to give you an idea about the complete detail about 4D printing. But yes, exactly in 4D printing, what happens as soon as you print it, it basically uh, it's converted into a structure like which we have desired in the design. So you can say it, if we made a box and if we open it and we print it, so as soon as that print is complete, we remove it from the bed, it will actually regain its shape of a box only. So this is basically things which comes in 4D printing. So it's under research, so I guess that would uh, take a years to come that kind of technology in the market. So as of now, people are not using 3D printing as well. So that's gonna take too long for 4D printing. Materials would definitely be a different, because the means in 4D printing specifically, the materials which will be used should would be having memory inside it. So basically, the materials, you can say it, which has their own memory cells, which so those kind of materials would be used in this 4D printing. So I guess I've questioned this one, like this bullet damaged the skull which I showed. So any question for this specific one? And for research purpose also, I've told you like the designing part would be the good area, because that's the thing where you can actually get your even IP, intellectual property, if you design something which is out of the box. And some lightweight, or you can say some designed as something like you can say uh, as of now, like many companies are there who have their implants patented. So definitely, as soon as you get those kind of implants done, so designing is a very good option for research, like how the body how you can design it with the which can be adopted with the body very easily. So So, any other questions for the medical part? So we can actually get an idea about some. No, there won't be a difference between printers for manufacturing and research. It totally depends what kind of research you're doing it. So the research which you are doing it, so that will actually get an idea like what kind of technology, what kind of manufacturing facility you'll be needing it. So if you're working on some very finer, very detailed part, then definitely you have to go for SLA or DLP technology, or some you can say it a CJP or MJP technology for higher detail. And if you're working on some parts which are very bigger in size and you have a very big wall thickness over there, then definitely you have to go for uh, any of the other manufacturing technologies. You can say it FDM or SLS. So 2D and 3D printing, you can say it a 2D printer basically, which we actually use it in our offices to print on a paper. So that's basically a 2D printing, and 3D printing we actually have a it's the process is similar of a 2D printing, but in 2D printing we have only X and Y, but in 3D printing we have the Z axis as well. So it basically it's three-dimensional printing, and that's two-dimensional printing. So in this capital intensive, it's basically capital, you can say it, for a 3D printer. Now it's not capital intensive, but yes, if you want to go for in the market, then definitely it's a capital intensive work. Because the printers are available in the market as low as around 20,000 for FDM, but the gap is too huge. You can say yeah, you can get a FDM printer for around, starts from around 17, 18,000, and it ranges around you can say 1 CR, 2 CR. But it totally depends what kind of field and what kind of area you want to cater it. So in that way, you have to just get an idea which technology and what kind of investment would be needed. So definitely, you can say it's capital intensive, but it totally depends on your area, like which area you're focusing it. So like if I give you an example, if you want to go for some facility which is actually, you want to make a customized implants or some regular implants in this, then definitely that's a very capital intensive work. The investment would be needed for a implant facility would be, say, approx 15 to 20 cr. So Fusion 360, I don't think so. That's used in so medical part. In medical, we actually use Mimics and some this modeling software called, like you can say it, a Blender, or some you can say it, one more software which is there, the ZBrush or Maya, just to process it further, to remove the extra part from it from the STL. So we use that. Fusion 360 cannot be used. Now the minimum investment, like in which kind of manner you want the minimum investment, in the printer part, or like in which field basically, I would like to know. Then I would like to tell you like how it can be done.
Sir, it is regarding biomedical.
Okay, so biomedical, it's still under research. So as of now, there are many companies in India and outside India as well who are researching on biomedical, and as of now, it's very challenging to say it like what kind of investment would be needed. So that would be a very, like it's very difficult to give that answer, because even we don't know about the investment, what kind of, because as of now nothing has been uh, you can say it's come, nothing is in the market like, yeah, this is specifically a biomedical printer. Like definitely there are some companies who are, like you can say it, a Form Labs or some other SLA technology specifically. So they are making a biocompatible resins, but that biocompatible resin is not for implanting purpose. It's basically, you can say it, when we use some those mouth guard or some related, which basically can be placed inside your mouth. So that is basically those biocompatible material as of now, which is getting printed. But yes, definitely in near future, might be we'll be able to print the organs. So it's still research is going on for that.
Sir, when we are writing the proposal to some organizations, they're asking us for the specifications of the equipment. Can we
Okay.
have idea about what the specifications we have to say it?
But what kind of specification, like what kind of proposal you are?
Printer specifications for biomedical. We are it is for ortho production of kneecaps and other things.
For biomedical specifically, as of now, what people are doing, the, like, even I'm not from the biomedical part, but yes, the the idea which I have for specifically biomedical, it's you can say it, as of now they're making on FDM only. It's like they have designed their own printers, and then what they are doing is they are actually using stem cells of the body. to print that specific organ. So there is basically it's a research. So I don't think so anyone would be able to give an idea about what kind of specification and what kind of requirement you would be needing.
Sir, for example, the skull part, what you have
Right,
manufactured.
right.
If that is the case, what should be the specifications of the equipment?
Okay, so if you want to make a skull, so that's very a basic printer. You need a normal FDM printer, which can be which on that you can make it. But yes, definitely you cannot use the hobbyist printer in this, because in hobbyist one specifically, that's very challenging to get the accuracy. So we actually use some industrial grade printers which are very accurate, and as you can see, the printer which we are using it, these are the printers from Divide by Zero. This is basically made in India, and it's the Mumbai-based company. So we get the printers from them. They are very accurate, and they are very good to use. And we are actually using it from past 6 years in the medical field. It's been almost 4 years we are working in the medical field, so we are using it a good way. So each a printer which is very not 100% accurate, but yes, it should be accurate. So that's only the specification as of now. And then you can say you don't need any kind of specific material for skull printing, as I told you, because this is only for mock models.
No, sir, for titanium also you have made, no? Will
Titanium,
that be?
Titanium, it would be DMLS.
Okay.
It's basically direct metal laser sinting printers. So there are companies like EOS and Aurora Labs. Then you have for metal 3D printing, GE is also there. So there are many companies who are making metal 3D printers. So for titanium, you have to go for metal 3D printers. And the minimum investment for that metal 3D printer would be around, the printer would come in around 2 to 3 CR, a good printer. But only 3D printer won't give you an thing like you can start printing implants. So you need many kind of post processing machines. You need some. You might require CNC as well, for because ultimately we have to go for machining after that printing part, because the surface roughness value is basically from, it ranges between RA4 to RA10 roughness of the surface in 3D print, in metal 3D printing. So the area where we need the smooth surface, then machining and other post processing has to be done. So the total investment would be around you can say it around 10 CR. A good facility would come up with that. So the investment would be like this. If you need a very good facility, then definitely printer would come in around the range starts from 1.5 CR and it goes till 5, 10, 20 CR as well.
Sorry, even for peak, do we require high temperature?
Yes, definitely. Peak for that peak printing, we actually need the nozzle temperature of around 320 to 350 degrees centigrade. So for that as well, we need printers which the extruder which can withstand that temperature. Like if you are printing an implant, it might take, you can say it around 12 to 13 hours to print. So we need that kind of extruder which definitely needs to withstand that temperature for that long duration. Say if you are printing of a part which is of 12 hours, then definitely that material has to withstand 300, 320 degrees centigrade for continuous 12 hours. So for that, we actually use liquid cooling mechanism in that, or some other mechanism which you can cool it, the upper part.
Sir, can we have any demo on the design of the component? How the design starts with once the data we get from the CT scanner,
Okay.
What
But
exactly
as
happens?
we won't be able to, like, as of now, like, the designers are not, like, we actually work remotely, so designers are not here. Designers are based in Delhi. We have a designing team in Delhi because we actually work with many doctors in Delhi only. So we have set up a designing lab over there so that we can actually uh, just discuss with the doctor. Means it's basic. It's very difficult to remote working with the doctor, so that's why we have made that one in Delhi. So in maybe near future, I will definitely discuss with Mayank sir to have a session on the designing part specifically, like how that designing is done. We'll
Okay, sir.
definitely plan a session for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Like in what respect you're asking about 3D modeling and printing? The medical part or some other means and related to any other field? Mm, 3D modeling, you're asking for the medical part or the medical part you're asking? Designing a skull or something means these implants or the industrial one? Which software? Medical modeling, definitely for implant, yes, you might be needing those mimics and those kind of softwares. But yes, the other software which you can use it, or many other softwares are open source. You can say it, a 3D slicer. It's basically in 3D slicer you can actually get the CT scan data, and you can see that how that segmentation is done ultimately. But doing that, you have to get an idea about the anatomy of the body. So but as in 3D slicer is an open source software, so definitely you can use it. And for implant, we prefer specifically to go for paid one. So, like, let's come down to the industrial part once. As you can see, this is made in SLS or MJF technology. This is a So if you have any question with the medical, then definitely we can come up along with that, or else we'll go with some industrial applications for this 3D printing, like how it is used in industries. Like I can show you some models as well for that. So do you have any question with the medical? Any other? Like, would you like to know more about medical part, like how it's been done? Any questions which comes in your mind? So shall we proceed with the industrial one? Like what exactly, how the industries are using it?
Sir, when we get the CT scan, we
Right,
will get left view, right view, top view, and all the different views we'll be getting it for the same skull.
right,
Okay. So
right.
when we get the data from your digital data, how can we
Uh-huh.
know the thickness of the skull or one? We can know the
No, but exact.
we can only know the length, breadth, and heights, but the thickness of the bone for person to person it may
No.
vary. No?
Mhm.
So how we'll know it?
Yeah, so exactly we no the density of the bone, it totally depends on the person. So we exactly print, like, if you can see it, this specific part, this is the density, if you're able to see it. So this bone is this thick, so it's exactly in the body itself. So we cannot change the thickness. It just we only remove the data because basically you might have know that the bone which we have, basically it's the inside the bone there are bone marrows. So that's basically the part which is not the part of the bone. So we only get the bone out of it. So that part is hollow, and we only print the exact bone which is that the bone density which is inside the body. We print that thick bone only. We cannot change the thickness. Thickness cannot be changed. You have to get an idea about the anatomy of the body and the area of interest, like what exactly and how that designing, how the implant would be made or something, or some other details. So specifically you have to get an idea about anatomy first, then 3D modeling and printing. I guess you won't printing, definitely you can learn it, but there are already people who are there are service bureaus who are working with medical. So I guess, yeah, if you want to print on your own, then definitely you have to learn printing. But I guess apart from 3D modeling, you have to learn, you have to get an idea about the anatomy, like what exactly the body is, body, how exactly the anatomy of the body is. So you have to learn that as well. So then only you will be able to get an idea, like exactly how and where you can place an implant. Because when we design an implant, we only use these skull. We only use this area of interest. That's the only thing we use it designing an implant. But there might be chances there are some part which is not visible over here, but yeah, that was removed because so exactly you have to learn about the anatomy. Because like if you made the implant, so like if he's opening the jaw, so whether he'll be able to open it properly. So these kind of things you have to make in mind, just to check it, like for before designing the implant. But medical part, you just need the idea of anatomy. So let's come down to some industrial. So now let's come down. Now the part which I showed you, which was made in SLS technology. So this is basically for one automobile company. This is a wire harnessing part. So what exactly that company needs? That company needs a part which they can actually place it inside their body, so that they can actually harness the wires with these. So this specific part was designed for that company. So in automobile sector, what companies are doing, they are getting an idea. They are actually creating, you can say it, the customized tooling or jigs or fixtures. So that is basically helping them to just the product development is getting faster. the designers are able to create the structure which is extraordinary, or you can say totally conventionally new. Like you might have not seen in those kind of structures. So there are some 2 3 companies which have figured it out like that. You might be now let's come up with these 2 things. You might see over here, this is basically a 3D printed tool which the company has made. Ford has made these kind of these black part which you're able to see, black and blue inside it. So this basically it's a fixture. So 3D printing is being used for a product development, because you can say your product can be made very like faster with this 3D printing. Customization, yes, definitely it's true. You can customize anything for that specific client. So this is the this is the fixture which was created, and the other image which you are able to see, Porsche has designed. Porsche has recently came up with these things. They are actually making customized 3D printing seats. So that's basically for it's totally depends on how your body is. So they are designing it with totally by you can say it with respect your body, like how your body is. So they are designing it like that way. So this is the example of 2 companies, Porsche and Ford, which are using 3D printing very regularly, and they have actually adopted this technology is one of their manufacturing things. So they are creating customized seats, and there are many other companies who are actually coming up with their new ideas, getting it innovated. So there is one more thing which I would like to tell you. There is one case study where consumer sector. So recently, Gillette has launched its platform where you can choose the handles of your razor. So these handles are 3D printed. So they have actually made around 48 different designs. So you can customize it, you can order it, you'll get it. And similarly, Adidas has come up with their Futurecraft 4D sneaker series. So in this, the sole which you're able to see are 3D printed. So there are many companies who are coming up with their new ideas, mm, their own advancement, like how this technology would be beneficial for their own need. So people are developing their own technology as well with this 3D printing, because now 3D printing has become open source. So it totally depends. And now there is one company named Evoke. There is one company named Evoke. So what they have made, you can make you can make a part which have around, you can say it, more than in a single part you can use different kind of materials. So people are evolving, like this technology is getting day by day, it's basically advancing it. So we there might be the scenario in near future, like the conventional things, the conventional sector, the conventional technology would be common chapter where we need a mass manufacturing. Mass is also, you can say it, a lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh pieces. But for 5,000, 10,000, definitely it can come down to uh, 3D printing in near future. There is one more thing, like I would like to tell you about. Just a second. Now, one more interesting I would like to show you. This is a coupler. Now, the name of this coupler is, it's basically a Shaku coupler, which is used to fix two bogies. So this model, this scale model is 3D printed actually. So this is made in around 25 different parts. So it can be assembled and you can actually, you can see it. You can actually remove each part out of it. So this part is completely 3D printed. So this is a Shaku coupler. This we made for a client in Indore who are actually manufacturers of a bogie manufacturer. So they want their models scale model of their parts which they manufacture for railway. So this is the way, like many industries are using it, not only for prototyping, not only for manufacturing, but yes, for their other specific needs as well, like how they want to use it or something. So this is one example which is recently we have done it for. So the all the nuts which are able to see the nuts and bolts and these screws are completely 3D printed. Uh, Calculations actually we haven't done any kind of calculation. We just get the 3D data from them. They have already have the 3D model of this, and in industries you mostly have 2D data, but they need we actually need 3D data. So they already had 3D data with them. We get those things, then we actually scaled it, and we just have to modify a little bit where like scale when we scale it down, so definitely the thickness of the part gets reduced. So we actually need like printing it in FDM. This is FDM. We have made it through FDM technology. So making it through FDM, we actually need a thickness of around 2 mm. So we just need to check the thickness of the overall part, like the individual part which we made. The thickness should not be less than 2 mm. So we just check those. So we don't do any other kind of calculation. It was very simple to make it. That was not a challenge. The challenge only was to make it, you can say it, the only challenge which we faced to scale it down and to check the thickness, because checking the thickness for individual parts it's very tedious. So only that idea you just have to check it, like like in what scale the thickness you'll get it. Now in industries, yes, these kind of things can also be made. As you can see, all kind of detailing inside the casings. So this is properly fixed, and your what people are like now, and what industries are doing, if they want to launch their own product, they get these kind of casings. They don't have to invest in high toolings for injection molding or some other toolings which they needed. So they actually get the pilot batches done to 3D printing. Say first they want to try it for 25, they get these 25 pieces done. Then they need for say another 50, they get 50. So as soon as their pilot batches has been done, the 3D printing is used. Now after that, after their pilot batches, then when their product is ready to go for mass manufacturing, then they process it for injection molding or some other technologies which they needed. So this 3D printing in industry specifically has reduced the investment for tooling, because earlier, when 3D printing was not in the chapter, so what people used to do, like you can say it, when you have to get an idea like how my product would be looking, and you can say it how it will perform in the market. So there were not, you can say, not many options go for manufacturing only. Either you have to go for machining or injection molding. So then tooling and other things are very costly for that. So with this 3D printing, it's come down very easy and cost effective. Recently, we are working with one company. There is basically a medical device which we have to create it. That's a diagnostic device. So we have actually created these casings for them. So this is basically made in FDM and it's been post-processed. So that's very this specific parts are very simple. Like the strength of the part is not that low, but yes, it can be definitely done. Now what happens? This is a PCB of that product. You can actually fix it. As you can see, you have basically mounting holes over here. You can actually fix it over here through a bolt, through either a bolt or a screw, and this part is ready to go. So like this way, basically industries are using it. Like they are getting an advantage for with this technology. They can actually easily you can prototype it, like how this casing would be looking. They can actually functionally test it whether that is working or not. So we created over here. So if you see it, you have all the internal details over here. Basically this is the hole for a LCD. So we'll place a 7-inch LCD inside it, and this part is basically for sensor holding. So for sensor holding, we have designed a sliding part over here. So there is a plate which will slide inside it, and over here you can actually place your fingers from front. So with this, basically this technology, yes, definitely there are multicolor printing as well. There are two things: either basically in multicolor printing, what happens? It's basically in powder-based technology. It's not in the. There are companies who are making it FDM, in FDM the colors, but they're not that accurate and that finished. So just a second, I'll show you that color one as well, which I'm talking about. See this one. This is a multicolored output. You can get around 5 million different colors with this technology. This is directly colored from the machine itself. We haven't done it anything from outside. So yes, definitely there are possibilities, and now there are technologies which are coming in who can give you the surface finishing as good as your injection molded part with 20 million color output. Also, there is technology in which you can combine around 7 to 8 different materials inside a single part. That too, you can get a surface finish of injection molded. So you can say it. There is a like you can make a part which have a hard part like a solid part inside it. Then you can get an idea of some flexible part, flexible material in a single part only. So like you can, if you want to make a car, you can make in that technology, and that tire would be printed in rubber part, and the other part would be in flexible in the solid, in the hard material. And you can say the screens would be made in transparent material. So there are technologies which are advancing day by day, and you can get those kind of details as well. So maybe in near future, you can say it like these kind of things can be very so these kind of things can definitely come in the market in near future. As of now, it's very costly, but definitely it will going to be cheaper in some in the market. No, maybe in a year or so it would get cheap. So there are some one we can have an idea about. I'll just share one more thing and I'll let. Can you see this car? So this is a 3D printed car. This complete body has been 3D printed, and actually you can drive it. This is the world's first 3D printed car. It's named as Stratty. Let's have a. So as you can see, those layers are visible. If you can see it in the video. So these layers are visible. So this marks you like this is a 3D printed car. And this is made single shot. Assembly is not there for the car body. So yes, definitely the advancement is continuously going on this technology, and maybe in near future or maybe in couple of years, this technology would be getting more advanced, and you might come up with some very innovative products as well, which are specifically only made through 3D printing. So, any other question with this specific?
So this is Mansi Jain. So I need to ask a question.
Tell me.
So with the different material that we use together, if we do use together,
Mm-hmm.
or like we can say for the same metal in your case,
Mm-hmm.
so there would be many thermal conditions that would be having a problem. So how do you cope up with these thermal conditions or something?
So exactly what happens, the thing which I was telling you, like in a single part you can use different kind of materials. Exactly, that is your question, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes.
So what happens? The technology is totally different. With that means the technology which we use for that kind of work is polyjet technology. So in that, what happens? We actually jet. Basically, there are thousands of jets inside it, nozzles you can say it. So we have a container, which is basically means they have the storage of different types of material inside that container, and where we need those kind of material, it's basically jets. It's basically drops from that nozzle, and it's UV cured. So that is basically the combination of FDM or DLP technology, you can say it. So
So
for
do you use it yourself also, because there may be different thickness too. So there also it's like thermal
Yes,
condition.
definitely. That's not an problem with that, because it's the thermal condition. It hardly depends inside the machine, because that machine is totally closed chambered. So they have the temperature or something maintained inside the printer only, and it's UV cured. So unless and until you have the UV light on that material, it won't be cured. So
Okay,
basic.
so before it's like 3D printing a specific part,
Mhm.
do you simulate it again, because it's like for the biomedical things?
No, that's not. We don't use it for that biomedical part basically, but we use it for industrial part only. Biomedical only titanium has been used for implanting, no other titanium or PEEK. So for that PEEK, getting it printing in PEEK, basically we need a very high temperature. So for that, there are some specific machines which can withstand that kind of temperature. So we use it that only that machines only.
So in your case, you blindly, it's like after designing a particular part,
Mm-hmm.
you just give it for the print for the printing, or you stimulate it first in a software like Comasol or ANSYS or Flow 3D. You do that, or
Yes, we do that for implant purpose. Like before manufacturing the implant, we get we place that implant in the NSYS software and check that the structure and the force. Like if we apply a force, so where is the exactly the breaking point of that? So we definitely do that. Then only we proceed it for manufacturing it. Means there are many other tasks, like before manufacturing there are many other processes which has to be documented, because see, customize the regular implant, they have actually done the study once and they have started the mass manufacturing of it. But when we are asking for the customized implants, that is specifically made for one patient only. So that will be implanted specifically in in that person's body, of which we are working it. So that implant implant cannot be used in any other person's body. So that's why we have to go for every implant. We have to go for analysis, like what's the break point, or what's the temperature, and other kind of details for that.
Okay, so the ANSYS part also has an additive manufacturing. It's like plugin also. So do we simulate those additive manufacturing plugins also? It's like, do we see whether like how would the material be during the additive manufacturing?
No, that won't be a problem because we printed titanium only. No? So we don't go for material one, like how that material would be acting. But we definitely, before printing it, we actually check the design, whether design is perfect or not.
Okay,
So we get the design validation.
uh, for the structural part of the view,
Exactly.
you go for the analysis part.
Exactly, for the structural part, because I don't have that model with me, or else I would show you. There are patients who are struggling from diseases called TMJ ankylosis. In basically TMJ ankylosis, what happens? The jaw of the patient, basically, when we are speaking, only our jaw is moving, not the maxilla. Maxilla is fixed. Only jaw is moving up and down. So while moving this up and down, exactly, we have the condylar head over here. So we actually means you can say it, there is a cup and there is a ball socket joint in this. So we actually move it like this. It's been moved like a jaw is there. Mm, See, this is a condylar head. Okay, and this is the area which fossa is there. So this condylar head basically moves, if you can see, it moves like this. Okay, so when we move it like this one, so we just have to show it while, if the patient wants to eat some hard thing, so how much force he'll be applying it, and how much basically he'll be opening his mouth. So we have to see that as well. So for that thing we have to go for ANSYS, like if he'll open it or if he'll press it, like with how much force he'll press it, so that implant should withstand that force and it should not break. So we have to check that. So that's why we go for ANSYS, and that material basically it's for titanium only. So strength wise it's not an issue, but yes, it might be possible if it is very thin. So while chewing, or if he applied like if he had some hard thing inside his mouth and he's trying to eat it, so it might be possible that implant can bend. So we have to check that. So that's why we use those ANSYS ones, only structural part, that's it. Like whether that specific implant which we made would be able to withstand that force or not, which has been applied.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kunal sir,
Welcome,
for
sir.
your nice presentation, and it was very interactive, and also participants will get benefited from it. So
Definitely, sir.
uncover the case studies and the work you have done in your field.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
Yeah. So yeah, we are
Yes.
getting also in chat box. Thanks comment for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can we end the session or anything? Anyone ask?
Yeah, if anyone have any questions, then definitely.
Because we are also. Yeah. I think we should end the session. It's 10 minutes over.
Okay, definitely, sir. Thank you so much, everyone who have come along with this session. And if you have any questions in your mind and you want to get an idea like how it can be done, you can actually get the email address of mine with email address. Mayank sir have it. So you can definitely email me, or you can have the contact number of mine from Mayank sir. I'll drop the email over here. Like there might be some questions which I was not able to answer it, or because of the duration, many would have not been able to ask it. So you can definitely mail me. So I'll definitely have we can have a discussion along that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
that's my email address, which I've mentioned in the chat box. So you can definitely come along with your questions.
Okay, with this, I would like to thank Mr. Kunal on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering. Thank you, Kunal,
Thank you
for
so much, sir.
your valuable time and efforts you have made for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a next session with Dr. Yashwant Modi. He will be going to knowledge about separately for the biomedical applications, which we are more concerning nowadays. So we will join at 12:30. Thank you. Thank you for being here.